Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Lim, Director of Programming for Film at Lincoln Center, and I'm very pleased to welcome you all to this evening's special event, a live talk with Youn Yuh-jung. Youn Yuh-jung is, of course, Oscar nominated for her role in Lee Isaac Chung's film Minari. She is also the subject of a 5-film retrospective currently running on film at Lincoln Center's Virtual Cinema. I'd like to thank my colleague, Madeline Whittle, and A24, the distributor of Minari, for helping us put this together. Thank you also to HBO, presenting sponsor of Film at Lincoln Center Talks. Our retrospective runs through April 25th, which means it does run through Oscar weekend. And in addition to Minari, we are showcasing 4 of Youn Yuh-jung's previous films. We were really thrilled that Minari introduced American audiences to Yuh-jung's work, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to showcase some of her other films. She, as Korean audiences know, she's had a really rich, diverse career that spans 5 decades. She's worked with some major Korean filmmakers. She's one of the most beloved actresses in Korea. I hope you'll take this opportunity to check out some of her other films. She has leading roles in some of them, supporting roles in others, but you'll find that she's just one of these actors whose presence instantly makes a film more interesting. We are honored to be presenting this retrospective and to have with us today as our special guest, Youn Yuh-jung. Welcome and thank you for being with us.
Oh, I'm honored to be with you and then actually showing my previous film. So I'm very grateful that you're having this program for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us I know you're in LA now, but you just arrived from Seoul. So I assume you're fighting jet lag. I'm wondering if you can maybe just start by telling us what the last few months have been like for you. Obviously, you've been, campaigning, but it's a very different kind of campaign. I mean, most events have been virtual. I know you've also been working. So what has it been like for you the last few months?
Oh, just one word. It's like it went crazy because I never thought that was the first interview with my best friend then Ina, and we were zooming, like this one. She was the technician and everything for me. And then I thought maybe just having some interview with American audience about the Minari. And I didn't know that was campaigning. And now I gathered that was the starting. And I know why they call campaigning or Oscar racing. I didn't know. I thought maybe the politician is campaigning for their vote. Racing means, like a horse racing. So, but now I realize, oh, this is it, because all the interview with my lack of English and I didn't know what to say, or, my English is not perfect at all. And then I don't know, I just did it anyway. So I came this far with Ina. Without Ina, I couldn't able to make it.
Have you talked to Bong Joon-ho about what he went through last year? Have you talked to director Bong?
Yes, yes, he warned me before I left Korea, actually. He said to me, well, you have a number on your back, like a basket player or something like that. So I didn't know what that means. And so you got to go run. You got to be run for the audience or for the country or whatever. So I said, what he's talking about? And then have an interview, I realized, and Bong Joon-ho said, wow, they are working so hard. So I realized, yeah, I worked so hard to just having an interview with all the strange people. In Korea, whenever I have the movie released, of course, I have a chance to talk with the reporters, but sometimes I was very choosy about the reporter because I know them well, who has a stupid question and who has smart questions. So I just, I'm not going to do with this one and that one. And here, I'm just a nobody here. It's like just did everything. So now I came this far. I'm still alive. I'm very amazed I'm still alive with this English.
It must be, I mean, in a way, difficult to be doing almost everything virtually, to just be doing everything through screens, but at least I guess you don't have to be traveling as much. I remember last year, Bong Joon-ho there was one weekend where he came to us in New York. He also was in London and in LA at the same weekend. So at least you're not having to deal with that kind of campaigning.
Actually, Bong Joon-ho said to me, "You are very lucky to have a pandemic because they have to go here and they are London to LA and every day." Actually, the Song Kang has a bloody nose because he didn't realize he was so tired, but he has bloody nose, but he didn't know his nose was bleeding. And Bong Joon-ho got some kind of what do you call them? Red eyes, because some thin, what is the picture means? Picture, but bloodline was just pop out, so his eyes got
like a blood vessel. Yeah.
Yes, so he had to wear the sunglasses, and he keeps saying, "I'm lucky."
So what is your we were chatting before we went live, and you said obviously it's your first time at the Oscars. What is your relationship with the Oscars historically? Is it something that you've always watched? Did you always watch the nominated films? Did you watch the ceremony? What was your relationship with the Oscars?
One program for me that all the Korean audience think that's the television program, just to watch that the Oscar event. And then me if I watch the movie, then I have some, I wish he could win or she could win or something like that. And if he lose or whatever, then I would say, oh, that photo or the jury is not not tasty or whatever. I was just the audience. So actually, it's not real to me yet. You say I'm nominated. Yeah, I know. I heard the announcement, but when we make this small film, we never thought about coming this far, and we never thought about having this warm reception from the foreigner for us, American is foreigner. We didn't expect this reaction, so still I'm not. I cannot tell that I'm in LA, so I'll be going, I'm sure.
So I'm going to, take the opportunity to ask you about your earlier films and about your overall career, since we have this retrospective. I'm also going to invite the audience to submit questions for Yuh-jung in the chat. So you're welcome to just type in your questions, and I will pose them to her. But I thought we could just go back to the beginning of your career. You've talked about how you got your start as an actor, and you've said it repeatedly now in several interviews that you started by accident. That there was no plan, that you just ended up with a job at a TV station, and then somebody asked you to audition, and then you got TV roles, and then you got film roles. At what point in that early stage did it sink in for you, like this is what I'm doing, I'm an actor now?
I think later on, I think started as looking for the part-time job, and I ended up to be the television actress. And then that was good money, so I was just doing it. And back in my days, after you get married, you don't have leading role anymore, because once you get married, then she's not interested anymore for the audience. So naturally, I got married and then happened to be living in the state, and then I just stopped. Then went back to Korea and became a divorcee. And then I was thinking, should I go back to state and then raise two boys, because they were American, born in the States? So what should I do? And one of writer friend from television station, she said, "Are you stupid? There's nothing wrong with you. You are not doing anything wrong. So you have a very gifted talent, don't you know? You got to start acting again." So I said, "But nobody likes me. Why should I start? How can I start here? Because everybody forgot about my name was vanished after 10 years, after 9 years." So then she said, okay, I will give you a role, but because since you're divorcee, I cannot give you big role. So you have to just to see how it goes. So that's why I started back. And then from that time, I was 38 maybe. And I was very grateful that I could go back to work. And I should be work so hard. And then I thought maybe back in my time, my limelight time, I thought I was a great actress by myself because I got the award from first movie by Kim Ki-young. I got all the award when I was 23 or 4. So I thought maybe I'm a great actress. But after 38 years, no, when I get 38, I realized that, oh, I'm not a good actress at all. That time was my turning point. I really practiced a lot and I appreciate all the role I have. That's the point, I think. That's the time I think I changed it to being real professional actress and then responsible about my role. So I got mature from that after divorce.
I do want to go back to those what you call your limelight years, your early roles, because your first film role was, as you mentioned, with Kim Ki-young, who was at the time like one of the leading filmmakers in Korea, and this was you had worked in TV, but this was your first film role, and he was quite a character. I mean, and also his nickname was, at least as it's translated into like English writing, his nickname was Mr. Monster.
To me, Mr. Monster, or he was very peculiar. Am I saying right?
Yeah.
Very peculiar and very awkward, but he's very genius every way.
And those were very intense films. Those are pretty intense roles, Woman of Fire and Insect Woman. I should mention to people that we weren't able to include those films, but if you go to the Korean Film Archive's YouTube page, Insect Woman is actually available there. But yeah, I mean, what was it like, having these demanding, seemingly like quite challenging roles, working with this eccentric filmmaker in your first film roles?
It was like torturing. every take, and he asked me to do very weird thing. I mean, to me that was weird. I mean, do this and that, and then actually it wasn't acting. I think he just asked me to do. Well, the first contract was before I shooting movie, he asked me to meet him 2 hours a day, every day. So I thought maybe he was very strange, meeting him like 2 hours a day. It's very strange contract. So sometimes we went out, have a tea, or went to see the movie, and went to his house or my house, which, a lot of things together, like 2 months, I'm not sure, 1 month. That was back in more than 50 years ago. I forgot about it. Then later on, during the shooting, when we started filming, and then he asked me to do the smile. When I say these things, you smile, very strange smile. So do that here in this scene. I need that smile, or the gesture about the finger or something. I need that thing while we were talking over that, conversation. So I realized, oh, wow, that's why he asked me to meet him every day before, shooting. And but stupid me, I thought maybe he's married man. Why he's asking me meeting 2 hours every day.
And you worked with him again towards the end of his career, towards the end of his life, right? In one of his last films, I think.
And I thought maybe all the film director is like that. I thought maybe if, in a way, after I've seen the premiere, after I finished that Fire Woman, then I seen premiere. Then I realized, wow, that's why he asked me to do that. and that. So I realized I'm very not quick. I'm not a quick person. I think I'm very slow. So then, of course, everybody was asking me to do the job, working with some other director. So actually, I think I did one, just to, didn't want to do it, but asked him a lot of money, but he gave me just right there in front of me, he gave me the big check. So always money is very important to me. Oh, stupid me. So I did, and I realized, oh, he's not the director. Oh my! I have to compare with Kim Gi-young. After work with him, no, it cannot explain about how the difference. I mean, maybe I was 23 old, but I can tell big difference him and me. So I did it again with him, the insect woman.
So, and I wanted to maybe move ahead to something you already talked about, which was this second phase of your career, in a sense, moving to America and then returning and starting over. Did you find that the industry was very different at that time? I mean, obviously you're at a very different stage in your life, but also Korea is very different. I mean, the dictatorship, you were away during when it ended, and going back, did you find that you were in a very different context, a very different industry? What was that early years like when you restarted your career?
In earlier, before I went to state, and then it's like a family, everyone knows each other, and then the one station, they're the two or three, only two stations, one public station, and the other one is the commercial station. So if you belong to the commercial station, it's just you got to just work for that, only for that one channel. The other one, you cannot, do that with them. So it was very small industry. And then when I got back again, it got larger and bigger. But all the culture or the tendency or some atmosphere is still same, because that's not my fault. I got divorced, but they say because in order to be in the public figure, you cannot use the divorcee woman on the television. That's still same. So I don't know. Just the industry got bigger, but people was the same. I think very conservative.
I wanted to move to some of the films that we're showing in the retrospective. And I've, in putting this retrospective together, I noticed that you often work with the same filmmaker more than once, multiple times. Do you think it's because of you, because of the filmmaker that happens? Is it because you want to keep the relationship going? Obviously, this Sang-Soo I'm thinking of as somebody you've worked with many times. We're showing The Housemaid, but obviously you also have a very, in many of his other films, you have a very important role in The Taste of Money too. So that in the case of Sang-Soo, can you talk about this long working relationship you had with him?
Actually, he was my turning point too, because that was the first movie since I left Korea. They said they were counting 18 years after absence from the movie industry. And he asked me do the role, but because I was over 50 something, late 50, and I need to just half naked. So everybody was turned down that role with my age actress. And he was very friendly. Just I asked them can I meet the director for the producer? And then he said, of course. So I met him. And then why you asked me to do this role? Am I the first one who you asked me? And then he said, he was very honest. I like honest person. No, you are the third one, because they all turned down. Why? And because, they don't want to show off their, half naked. So So you didn't have a choice. And she said, yes, I didn't have a choice. But if you want to do it for me, then it will be grateful. So he was honest. So if he say, okay, you know, all the directors say, I wrote this role for you or something. I don't believe that kind of things. But he was very honest with me. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So that's why we started the relationship.
And the film that we're showing, you know, The Housemaid, is a sort of remake, like a reinterpretation of Kim Ki-young's maybe most famous film. Mm-hmm. And it's a film that he also, you know, the films that he made with you are, you know, Woman of Fire is sort of a version, not a remake exactly, but a version of The Housemaid. And I understand that the film is going to be remade again. I mean, it seems to be a film that keeps, you know, has this, is constantly sort of being, you know, has a hold on the cultural imagination in Korea or something. Like, what do you think it is about this film that keep, you know, that makes filmmakers want to keep coming back to it?
I think that's, you know, it's that, yeah, I was thinking about that too. Why are they making, you know, remaking 10 years later, and then it's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 times or remaking it. Maybe even all the world is changing. Still, there's a high and lows. You know, there's a lower society and high society, and then there's some ambition and, you know, that subject, the Kim Ki-young's subject, because of between lower level and higher level, there's a girl who trying to just be the higher level, you know, trying to just climb up the ladder. Well, that's, I think that, you know, inspired all the director. They can, you know, use that theme for the different time, I think. Mm-hmm. Likes him very much too. So I think I think Kim Ki-young influenced a lot of the young generation's director, I think, in Korea.
Right. People like Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook have talked about him being a very important figure for them. I want to talk about another filmmaker you've worked with more than once. Oh, and when we before we went live, I said we would talk about these filmmakers, and you said you only had gossip about. So I also welcome gossip if that's what you want to share about any of them. Another filmmaker who I think has been very important for you is Lee Jae-young, because of Actresses and the film that we're showcasing, which I think is one of your great performances, which is The Bacchus Lady. I really, if people haven't seen The Bacchus Lady, I really recommend that they check this out. It's Bacchus Lady is a term for an older sex worker. Can you talk about this role? It's I think it's a very unusual role for, not just, you know, I think for an actress of any age to have a role like this.
Right, I agree with you. He and I are very good friends. I mean, very good friends. We like, what should I say, like going out dinner together. He's single and I'm single. Well, we don't have any relationship at all. But he's available all the time, and I'm available for him. So, okay, where are you? And then he said, okay, I'm somewhere. Then, okay, did you have a dinner? And he said, no. Okay, let's have a dinner. So we are very close friend. After we make that Actresses, it was quite successful because the idea was really good, but there's no script. So actually, he gave me the situation for this situation between actress and. He doesn't know about the actress at all, I think. Actress never be honest. Since you have a camera on, you cannot be honest. The innocent Lee Jae-young believe us. We could be very honest in front of the camera. I don't think so. It was wrong. But anyway, it was all the big name actors on that film. So it got succeed in a way. And Bacchus Lady, actually, he was thinking about it, and I suggest him doing it because he's not like a radical or director. That Sang-Soo is more radical, you know. But if that subject is that theme is very heavy and serious on very, what do you call it? It's very tragic. So if he do it, then maybe it won't be very traumatic or something. Yeah. So we agree with that, and so he wrote it very quickly. How about that? And he sent it to me, the script, and then I asked him, "You want me to do that?" And he said, "Why did I send to you? Why would I send it to you?" So of course I want you to do it. So I said, "Okay, but it's just an independent movie." I said, "I'm very attached with the independent movie." So independent movie, you know what I mean. So we were doing it. And I was really depressed while I was shooting that one. Usually I was just like, feel like I'm concentrate that scene, and then I'll just get out of the scene and then just forget about that scene, and trying to be professional, not, serious about, I'm not method actress. So then that one was, it was really sad. And then he asked me to research it. So I went, there's some spot, the lady was just hand to the Bacchus. That's the Bacchus is the energy drink actually in Korea. That's the sign of that. Would you like to go with me or something like that? Yeah. I saw it from the distance, but how could I go to her and then why do you do this or something like that? I cannot research it. So I told him, no, let's not do that. He said he doesn't want to do it too. So I just say, interpret myself. If I were her, what would I do? So we did it together. But we were doing fine. But every time I was really upsetting in that, that all the scene I was supposed to do. And then I couldn't swallow some even noodle, the ramen things, because I had to drink wine, just to sip the wine and then have some kind of noodle once. All that place was real small and real place, So, that was terrible. And the smell was very strange, so I couldn't swallow any food. So with the white wine, I have some kind of ramen thing. And then we finished it finally. Then the ending scene, we had a big argument. I still don't believe him because I asked him to just, with that, when she was, the police called her. And then I was smoking in the car, and then I asked the police, is it the prison is warmer than outside or something like that, at least? And she was smoking. I thought that was the end of the movie, but he insists. She go on, in prison, and then she's dying. So I said, no, let's stop it here. So we had a big argument, but you cannot convince director. I found out.
That's funny. I agree with you, I think. I think that scene in the car is really strong.
Yes. But he insists. And then, after I've seen the premiere, he's stubborn.
The other thing I actually was thinking when I was watching Bacchus Lady is you have a lot of scenes with a child actor in that film, just as you do with Alan Kim in Minari. So I'm wondering how often have you worked with opposite children, acted with children in your career?
I think a lot of them, really.
Yeah.
A lot of them. But I found out as long as their parents is not interfering for them, they are fine. They are better than me. They observe the scene and then they are real character. If I just throw the line in front of him and then he will, here they are fine like a sponge. But if the parents was just coaching the acting and everything, So I found that. So as long as we can avoid the parents away from the scene or from the shooting place, they are fine. So we didn't have problem with that boy too, really.
Do you find that when you're acting with a child that you also sort of have to be directing, doing a little bit of work? No, you don't have any.
No,
you don't think you're also directing the child?
No, I don't direct them. Just I trying to be very real person as a character. Mm-hmm. They always respond to me, right. Respond back to me.
So, okay, I want to move on to another filmmaker you've worked with many times, a filmmaker who's very, very dear to my heart. I love his films, is Sang-Soo. And he is somebody who has a very, very unusual way of working. He's talked about how he, increasingly more and more, he doesn't use a script. He just writes every morning, and then he just gives you the lines. You don't seem to like this. So you get the lines at the very last minute, and then you shoot. So what's that like as an actor working on a set like that?
Actually, he asked me the first time when I met him, and he asked me to do the role, and then he said, I asked the producer how long should I be shooting, and then how much money, the money is important. But actually, result, I'm not the person who is collecting the money, but so I asked them, and that was very small money. So I thought maybe, what? No, that's impossible. And I asked Sang-Soo. He was a good friend of mine. We became a good friend. So I said, Sang-Soo asked me to do the role, and then this amount of money, and then what kind of attitude is that? And it's not commercial movie. And then he said, Sang-Soo said, well, you make money from the television, and then you just he need you. And he's very good filmmaker, and he loves movie. So why don't you just do it for him? So, okay, I'll do it for him. And then I found out that, can I say the script? And there's no script. And then, so certain date, which day, if I come to the shooting place, and then they will give me the script. Huh? So what is the whole story? And he explained about my role, and then what should I supposed to do, and he chose all the clothes because the costume I was supposed to wear, but not the line. So I went certain day, and then there's no script, and she's still writing it. And then finally after 9 a.m., the producer brought some kind of piece of paper, 3 or 4 pages, that only that scene I'm supposed to be in. I hated that. And all the actors together were trying to memorize, like some blah, 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 and we're like a mad person, all of them. And they're much younger than me. Of course, so did you memorize? And everybody, they all memorized. Me, I cannot. Oh, wait a minute, and then try to just, practice together and together. Okay, we go. And then he kept doing it over and over until everybody should be perfect. If 4 of them together, then we have to be right. 4 of us have to be right. I was really, really upset. So finally, after 10 takes, or I don't know, I didn't count, millions takes over and over. And then I was in the restaurant, I think, front of the restaurant. I asked my manager to just stop the car front of the restaurant, and then I would just run away. So I asked everybody. It was like ha ha ha, I think. Mm-hmm. And 4 of us, my son and my son's friends, and we were in the restaurant, and I was a restaurant owner, and then we were all, seems okay, every line was okay. So I said, are you all right? And then they said, oh, they're fine. Okay, then I'll go. And then I run away. I run to the Seoul. He was chasing me. He was yelling at me. So I run away. And I called Lee Jae-young. I win Hong Sang-soo. I win it. I just ran away. And congratulations. Then next day, there's a lot of guard. I cannot move because after this, while I'm shooting, Hong Sang-soo is not having a lot of people not prevent not running over. So only one is I did. I win over him. And later than 30 takes or 40 takes, I had to do it.
But you continued to work with him. You've been in many of his films. So obviously this is something you enjoy about the process?
No, I think actually, now I found that out. I thought maybe he likes me as just an actress. So that's why I kept doing it. But I found that out. His producer likes me.
Right. You worked with Lucky Chantil is a film. That's funny. Well, I want to ask you about the film that we put in the retrospective, which is in another country. And there's a question from there's a question in the chat here, which I had been meaning to ask you, from Harley Diamond, who wants to know what it was like to work with Isabel Pere in that film.
He was very professional, I think, very serious actress. But me, very different character. Before shooting or right after shooting, I like to chat, just have a relax just have some chatting. And I was starting the conversation with her. It was raining. And then my hair was just flat like this, because of the rain. So I was talking to a small talk. And then nowadays, my hair is kept losing. And when you get old, the hair is not fluffy like used to be. And then don't you have that problem? And she said, do you? So that's the end of the conversation.
Well, it's I think you're both very funny in this film. I think your interactions are really funny. You also shot a short film, like a strange experiment with that is connected to in another country called List. Do you remember this? Like, which I think it was shot like on the one day or something after.
Yes, Hong Sang-soo wasn't very nice at all, of course. After we finished that in another country, I think. And then there's an actor, Chung Yuh-mi and Yoo-jung was.
Yep.
We didn't leave that countryside. We're supposed to leave tomorrow. He wrote it for us, like, three of us together, 20 minutes run, or I didn't see that even film that. Maybe he had some kind of money from the government. He had to use that for the government, I think, for the film. So when we call 밤을 새는 걸 뭐라고 그래요? Through the night. We did it all-nighter. Yeah.
All-nighter, yeah.
Yeah, it's all night.
All-nighter, yeah.
Yes, and then Yoo-jung was just sleeping like this. He was just sleeping like this. And then Hong Sang-soo was yelling at him, wake up. And then he said, I'm trying to wake up, but director, I can't not help me. Oh, please.
So you mentioned I read in Variety that you're doing another project with him. Is that something that's happening already?
With a project with the Hong Sang-soo?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. It must be a mistake. But you mentioned Hong Sang-soo's producer, and this is the other film that we've included in the retrospective, which is Kim Cho-hee's Lucky Chantil, which is, I guess, a sort of autobiographical film in a way, because it's about a producer who works only with one male filmmaker, and then when that filmmaker dies, it's about like sort of her, her crisis. So can you talk a little bit about that film? It's also
That was also independent movie.
Yeah, you do a lot of those.
That's story of my life. Well, she loved very much the film, I think. She studied film in France, and then she adored Sang-Soo very much. She was very devoted producer for him, and she inspired him a lot, I'm sure. And they were like a collaborator together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think she, after the scandal, I think she was kind of, it's not, you know. So she was, I didn't know. She said she's going to quit the film in making. She's just so disappointed about all the filmmaker, that business. So she went to Canada, and then she tried to think about herself, and then she came back, and she said she's going to sell some kind of, what do you call it, banchan, what do you call it, side dishes. She's good cook, and she's trying to sell some kind of side dishes. She's trying to make some food, and then just because she knows lots of actresses, so she can just deliver to the actresses or something like that. So I said, what? Why don't you just, well, she only knows the Hong Sang-soo's world. So why don't you, well, there's another commercial film I was doing it at the time. I needed some dialect coach, and she's from the Busan area, south part of Korea. So why don't you be my dialect coach? They will pay you the money. She need the money. So she went to that commercial, the movie, you know, field, and then she said she felt alive, and then I could be in this world, not the food selling or something like that. I could do something. So that's why she started write that story.
Right. How many women filmmakers would you say you've worked with through your career? I mean, you know, the film industry has been pretty male dominated in Korea. So I'm wondering if you know, you've had opportunities to work with many women filmmakers.
No, not many. I think she's the only one I think work with. And then in television, there's a lots of woman writer. The television series, the writer is very important. That, you know, like a director. So, but not in the film, not.
Yeah.
And then I don't work that much, you know, with all the different directors. You like you said, I used to start work with somebody, then I kept working to, you know, on and on. I think I don't know what's the relationship between them. It's me or them. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I want to leave most of the rest of the time for questions about Minari, and there are quite a few in the chat already. But can you tell us a little bit about your TV shows, like Yoon's Kitchen and Yoon's Stay, because I think you are very well known for those in Korea.
Most of Asian knows about me as just a variety show, that Yoon's Kitchen or Yoon's Taste. So I blame that director. You know, I've been in acting business 50 years, and nobody remember my work, and they all remember is Yoon's Kitchen and Yoon's Taste. It's embarrassing. All Asia, you know, that Japan, Western China, whenever I go overseas, and then they all say Yoon's Kitchen, all of them, the Asian people. So they think I'm only running the kitchen.
But have you enjoyed doing that kind of work?
That I like that director very much. Yeah. He's very what do you call? Very honest. I like honest people. Very honest, but why he wants me to do it, or he's very open about what he like to do, and then why he need me, and he's very honest. Yeah. That's why I liked him. And then that was challenging to me as an actor. You know, you don't do reality show usually. But for my age, it was very risky. My son was saying, don't ever do that reality show. You are going to be very suffer. So, but because of him, I did.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get a question from the chat. Quite a few questions about Minari. I'll go through some of them. One of them is just what was your most enjoyable scene to shoot in Minari?
No, what, while I'm acting, I'm not enjoying it. I'm just trying to be focusing that moment. So I'm not enjoying it. But after or before, when I chat with the director or chat with the other actors, then maybe that I remember. I think when I watched the movie, I was enjoying that scene, as an audience, because, oh yes, we finally got connected each other from David and me, while he was before bedtime prayer, because the grandma, I asked Isaac, she's not a religious person, so I was really shocked, that she was praying about seeing heaven, and then that means she's dying. So I said, it was shocked, and then I yelled at her, my sister, my daughter, not pray like that. And David, that line was very innocent and very genuine. David said, Grandma, I already prayed. Then I was just grabbing him, just to, all I can say was just, she doesn't have any knowledge about his physical condition, nothing, but she's just to grab him and then I won't let you die, or I won't let you die. That was just, we became a very connected between I think after that we became a friend, I think, David and me. So that scene, I liked it while I was watching the movie. Then after that, then between Isaac and me was very funny. Isaac asked me to do that scene after I burned all the barn and everything. He asked me to do, how would I feel, after I try to help them and hear huge mistake, and it's worse than mistake. What do you think, how would I express this feeling? Just watching the kids over the floor, just worn out kids, and they hear me trying to help them, and then this result.
Yeah.
And he said to me, mysteriously, looking at them mysteriously. So I said, I didn't get it. So I just looking at them. I think we did just only one take. And then I asked, he said, I got it. So I asked him, am I mysterious enough? You did. That kind of conversation I enjoyed.
A comment, question from Eunice on. Just congratulations on your nominations and your BAFTA win. You referred to Minari as a Korean film. I consider it a special American film. Is it considered a Korean film in Korea? And how did the experience of working with Isaac and a Korean and a heavily Korean American cast differ from your work with Korean directors and Korean casts?
Oh, that's so many questions.
The first one is it considered a Korean film in Korea? In
Korea, it's still confusing, I think, tell you the truth. So I would say this is an international film. But yeah, some of them, yes, love that movie very much. And then, but some of, the movies like that, you cannot satisfy everybody, cannot make them satisfied. So, but they appreciate the Isaac's work, Isaac's point of view. That I'm grateful.
And the second question was, how did the experience of working with Korean American filmmaker and actors different from Korean directors and actors?
I a couple of them, yes, Wachowski and then Isaac and some others. But, Isaac I just fell in love with him the moment I saw him. That's the problem. I wish he was my son. I really told him, actually. He's very, I talk about sometimes to my friend and then in public. There's nobody like that nowadays. Nowadays, all the kid, he's my kid, like 43, he's younger than my first son. And nowadays, it's all the different, it's not my time. So, but looking at him is very so genuine and how can I say, very humble and still very wise. He has very modest. So usually when you get smart, you are smart. You have to show you are very smart. He's a very smart person, but he doesn't show. You cannot tell. He's always humble, and he always up to the point. Always while during the conversation, I really envy him and I respect him really. And as a director, he was very super with me, really super. So I wish I asked him if I make a film again. Before I die, I will do it with the. I wish I could do with the Isa.
One more Minari question. This person wants to know if there were any scenes where you added something to the script. For example, the scene with the chestnut, which I guess Isaac has said is something that you brought to the character, and wants to know if there were. Yeah, was there anything that you brought to the script?
Yeah, a lot of them together with Isaac, because Isaac is, of course, Korean American, but there's a lot of different Korean American. I think I suggest me to be lying on the floor. That then Isaac always accept my idea. He was a good listener, very good listener. So then when you get encouraged by a director like that, you could share some ideas, but it's not my idea. I've seen many people doing it in Korean, the immigrant people. So I actually see that chestnut scene. I saw them. One of my friends' mother brought the chestnut and then, break it down with tooth and then spit it out on the spoon and then feed him. And then that's happened to be that Irishman was the husband, and Irishman was really upset and he was telling the truth. And he said, Youn, would you believe that David, actually he's David too, David's grandmother who came from Korea brought the chestnut, and David has strong teeth and she chew it back and then feeding with a spoon. That's why you have a hepatitis in Korea. I hate it. It was disgusting. He was really upset over that incident. So it was actually happened. I shared that story with Isa.
I think we only have time for maybe one or two more. I had wanted to ask you about what else you've been working on since Minari. Obviously, not a lot of people were able to work this past year, but you had a role in this series, right? Pachinko, which is based on the Min Jin Lee novel, which has finished shooting. You were shooting that earlier this year.
I think actually I finished March 15. I finished. Okay. That's why I went to Vancouver. We were shooting over there. Of course, I'm old Sanja, the main character.
Right.
But, she became 74 years old. So I'm playing that part.
Have you made any other films, or have you done any other TV or film work since Minari? Do you have anything lined up that you are?
I think I've done enough, because actually after Minari, I did a Youn stay, and then while I was shooting the Pachinko, and then while I was shooting Pachinko, I had this, I didn't know it was campaigning. I met you, remember me? And then, yes, I didn't actually. After Minari, I did the television series. I forgot about that. So I really need rest. It's too much for a 74 years old lady. It is too much. And I didn't expect to be having this well reception from America even. So this is a happy surprise, but it's really tiring. And it's just, I know why you call racing or campaigning. I learned.
Somebody has typed in the chat, do you have any plans? I mean, this is more work and you said you don't want to work. Do you have any plans to work with director Bong in the future?
I don't have any plan at all.
Okay. Maybe we'll just take one final question from Yoon Kim, who says, your BAFTA speech went viral. I think it's because you referenced the snobby Brits. Is there anything you forgot to say in your speech? Well, maybe you have another opportunity.
My lack of English is to bring the misunderstanding. Actually, I admire British very much.
I think that came across.
And then I admire their Shakespeare and then their Royal Theatre and everything. And then because of my lack of English, but they are in a way because they have a long history and they have a big pride, and then that I understand. But that's why they could be snobbish. They deserve to be snobbish. That's what I meant. But then, it got so big, and then I thought maybe I was doing something wrong. Maybe I had a big scandal or something. I didn't mean. I was just admiring because I felt so sorry for the Duke of Edinburgh. I loved him very much in person. I wish I could see him in person. He is a man of men, I think, supporting Queen. So I know their story. And then I'm very interested in their Judi Dench and Maggie Smith. I love them, Helen Mirren, and I loved all the Ian McKellen, I adore him. So, but hear me saying like this. So, please, big apology for the British. Hello, Britain. Forgive me.
Well, hopefully we'll get another speech in 10 days or so. We're sending you and Isaac and Steven and the whole Minari team good wishes. And thank you so much for doing this, for joining us. We're really happy to be presenting your films, and I hope that those tuning in, please do check them out. I think it's really a wonderful body of work. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Good luck with the Oscars and the last stage of the campaigning. Take care. Thank you, everybody, joining us.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.